confirm that on November 1st, at approximately 4:50 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, an unarmed, unmanned MQ-1 U.S. military aircraft conducting routine surveillance over the Arabian Gulf was intercepted by Iranian Su-25 Frogfoot aircraft and was fired upon with guns. The incident occurred over international waters, approximately 16 nautical miles off the Iranian coastline. The MQ-1 was not hit and returned to its base safely.
Well, let's start with the timing. Remember the administration chiding the Republicans for so-called politicizing foreign affairs over Benghazi. Well, here we have an incident that occurs November 1. We have an election 5 days later. We hear nothing about it until 2 days after the election. So either our intelligence agencies, on which we spend $60 billion a year, take a week to ascertain if one of our drones has been shot at, or this is an obvious attempt to manipulate information and hide it until after the election. Second, there's the response. This is the shooting of an American aircraft over international water. That is an act of war. That doesn't mean that we have to go to war over it, but it's a serious act of war. We are the protectors, the defenders of the shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. And what's our response? A protest through the Swiss, and the statement that we just heard that we are going to continue. This is George Little. We've let the Iranians know that we're going to continue to continue our flights. How about saying something like, you shouldn't be doing this? This is intolerable. We don't have to fire at them or take out an aircraft or a ship or anything, but perhaps reposition our ships as a way to say, you know, don't do this again. The Iranians are going to understand it. They now can take shots at our drones. Today unmanned, tomorrow they could hit a plane with a pilot in it, and there will be no price. And what's happening behind the scenes, we have secret pre-negotiations happening today with Iran. It's an open secret in the Gulf. Obama wants desperately a one-on-one negotiation with Iran over their nukes. He wants at all costs to avoid a conflict. And the Iranians are saying we can poke you in the eye, provoke you, and continue to harass you, and to show you and the world that you want these negotiations much more than we do.
Our producer at the Pentagon asked that very question. Is this an act of war? Take a listen.
Is that an act of war?
I'm not going to get into legal labels. The reality is that we have a wide range of options, as I said before, to protect our assets and our forces in the region, and will do so when necessary. We have communicated to the Iranians that we will continue to conduct surveillance flights over international waters, over the Arabian Gulf, consistent with longstanding practice.
It's a sign they're telegraphing to us, to the hardliners and the softliners in their government as well, that they are not afraid of the United States. They know that they have the upper hand in these negotiations. The United States is abandoning the P+5, which is P+1, which is the group that was negotiating with Iran. Supposedly liberals are for multilateralism. Here they're going for unilateralism. They want one-on-one negotiations. The Iranians are saying the Americans are desperate for a solution because they want anything that will avert a regional war. So they have this upper hand going into negotiations, and they are showing everybody in the region that they are not afraid of provoking the United States over the single most important role it has, which is keeping open the Strait of Hormuz, which is the world's choke point for the export of oil.
At the same time, we're getting ready next week for hearings up on Capitol Hill on the attack on the U.S. mission in Libya, in Benghazi. Talking about that, lawmakers are talking about the access to material. The State Department was going to let senators look at classified cables and emails and email traffic today and tomorrow only, if they came in town to look at them. Then there was a letter exchange, and now apparently staff can look at them today and tomorrow. Take a listen to this.
They claim to be the most open and transparent administration ever, but they're not doing the basics in sharing with Congress this basic information. The administration thinks that because they won an election that this thing's going away. Absolutely not. We're going to continue to press on this.
There's so many scandals here. I think the Republicans ought to focus on one. Not what happened before, the lack of protection, and not all the lies and the stories and the fables told after. I think what we really want to know was what happened in the 9 hours. What did the State Department know? What did it communicate? What did the people who are watching all of this unfold say, and to whom? Did the White House know about it? Where was the president? What decisions did he make? Where was the CIA? Were people told to stand down? The 9 hours is a scandal because our people died in that, and there's been no explanation of exactly who ordered what and what was the role of the president.
But you do have to also look at the stories that were told afterward again and again and again, which were wrong, misleading, may have been deliberately false.
I agree. There are 3 scandals here, but if you look at all of them, the story gets so wide and broad that I think the public will get lost. Stay on the one issue right now that I think everybody wants to know. Where was the president? Where was our Defense Department? Where was the CIA when our guys were dying?
I don't think the Secretary's plans have changed. You've heard her say many times that she intends to see through a transition of a successor, and then she will go back to private life.
It's been an interesting and tough 4 years. So I just really don't know. I don't know at this point.
I think it'd be a brilliant idea. I think if he can get some kind of agreement on the lines of their recommendations, that'll be a triumph politically for him, and I think also the country will benefit. I think one thing he might do, if it's not going to be Bowles, would be to offer the Treasury to Romney. I'm sure he would probably turn it down, but it would be the ultimate gesture. I don't think it'll happen. I agree John Kerry will probably end up as Secretary of State. I must say that my sources in the Obama White House have been rather quiet since January 2009, so I'm not sure that I have any other inside information, but I do think that Panetta is an interesting man because he has said that if the sequestration, the reduction of funds of the Pentagon happens, it will destroy, it will hollow out the military, and whether he stays, I mean, if he's deposed and he leaves, that will allow Obama a lot more leeway in cutting the Pentagon. Otherwise, Panetta could actually resign on principle if the sequestration were to happen, and that would be embarrassing.
So you think it doesn't happen?
I think he will likely be eased out, so there'll be somebody more pliable at defense.
I think the term for it is flexibility in this administration's second term.
Or malleable.
The president prefers flexibility.
Yes, he'll be flexible after the election, he told his good Russian friends.
Right.
This has been a Sunfish production.